What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I'm going to be talking about the art of taking bad setups. So without further ado, let's begin. So this is an important topic because it definitely keeps me more profitable than most people. And you're probably wondering, like, why? If I'm saying the art of bad setups, how does a bad setup keep me profitable? If that makes sense. And the reason is because I teach you guys all as beginners, all in my boot camp. I teach you guys the most basic terminology and the most basic setups. So, for example, I teach you singular fair value gap, good momentum, liquidity sweep, boom, you're in, right? So maybe something like, this is a play some of you guys would take, right? Because it's a singular fair value gap. It has a liquidity sweep here. There's good momentum. There's liquidity above, right? It checks off all of the boxes, which is good, right? You want to be taking setups like this. But the art of bad setups and taking bad setups, such as B setups, sometimes C setups, A minus setups, B plus setups, is important to understand as well. Okay. And in my eyes, this setup right here, this is an A setup. It's a pretty good setup. Okay, if I could find another A plus setup right now, probably, right? If we go to the previous day, right, I could call this setup here an A plus setup, right? Let's say it closes above. There's a singular fair value gap. It's noticeable. If I go to the 15-minute here, we're delivering out of a 15-minute, right? We have a 5-minute here. We have a 3-minute here, right? So by definition, I would define this a good setup. And like I said, you want to take setups like these. These are good setups to take. So how is the art of a bad setup good? Well, let me teach you. A lot of you come into my Instagram comments and you all start, bashing me when I take setups like this right here. Okay. Now, it's not really what I teach. It is a play where it's a 15-minute time frame. I don't really take the 15-minute time frame. It is a play where we have a good momentum candle, but it is a fair value gap on the other side of the curve, and it is a play where we don't sweep any liquidity on this leg, right? So I would not consider this an A setup. I would not consider it a light bulb setup. But why is it a setup that works and keeps you profitable? Because of the draw on liquidity. Okay, draw on liquidity is the most important part of the market. You will succeed the most and be the most profitable if you only take trades when there's an obvious draw on liquidity. Okay, if we go in my Discord, okay, don't mind some of these messages. I said yesterday, 6 or 9 p.m., note it, and I marked the data highs. I was not looking for an IPG here. I did not see an IPG here. I just knew we would go back up to these highs based off of context and based off my previous experience. So, what does that mean? That means I will likely, or it is possible that if we get an under par setup, I will take it knowing that one, if it loses, two, there's a good enough draw on liquidity to where I know I could get it back and we'll probably get another setup to it. And, take it knowing that if it didn't work, if it worked and I wasn't in it, I would regret not taking it. And it translates directly back to this message I wrote here. Okay. 8:41 a.m. If this 15-minute close is above, might have to get in. Would regret not entering and then missing it. And you can see I was ready. I knew we had the draw on the liquidity. I knew we had the dead high. We reversed overnight. So it's not a great setup. It's not in the 15-minute, which I rarely take, but it is a setup where I am confident in the draw on liquidity. And, you have to be willing to take some of these B setups if there is a very obvious strong liquidity. I notice a lot of you guys are missing some trades when we have a very, very obvious strong liquidity and we have a decent entry, but it's not an A plus entry. which is fine. It all goes back to the video I made previously about, you could wait for the most light bulb setup ever, 3 setups a week and probably be fine, and you can make millions of dollars. Sure. But one of the reasons I'm more profitable than most, because I know I can still get out with another extra green day, even if we have a mid-tier setup, but a good draw on liquidity. Because let's say a setup like this doesn't work. Let's just say it stops me out. Okay, well, who cares? If it stops me out, we're probably just going to get a Judas swing. It's probably going to go to below this low, and then I'll get another entry. That's how confident I am in the draw on liquidity. And being able to understand that, being able to incorporate that into your trading can be the extra setup you need to be profitable. But there's a certain way of doing this. You can't spam setups like this. It has to be when you have a very, 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 very obvious draw on liquidity. There's no thinking about the draw on liquidity. You just know we're going to go there. That's the only time this is okay. And, as I took this on my live stream this morning, everyone's like freaking out. They're like, are you going to hold through open? Where are you going to go break even? I'm like, guys, I have a stop loss. I have a TP. I'm not going to break even. I'm going to manage my risk the way I see the candles move. And we go up and it printed perfectly. Did I know it was going to print perfectly like this? No, I didn't. But did I have a plan to manage my risk? Yes, I did. And that's the difference between me and a lot of you. A lot of you don't know. A lot of you are scared that this isn't going to work. I'm not scared this isn't going to work. You want to know why? Because I know if it doesn't work, I'm going to manage my risk. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. And I know we'll probably get another setup from here. And now what ended up happening was we hit the low, and we actually did get another setup, believe it or not, from the low where I would have taken a setup if I took the loss initially. And did this setup work? Yes, it did. Okay, we inverses 5 minute, took us up back to the high. Was this a good draw on liquidity at that point? No, because we already swept my draw on liquidity for the day. This wasn't obvious enough. You have to take an obvious setup with a non-obvious draw on liquidity, but you can take a non-obvious setup with a very obvious draw on liquidity. Okay, and I'm going to tell you right now, for those guys who are watching this video who have been trading for a year, even 2 years or less, you might not be there yet. Okay, for the guys trading for 3 years or more, you really can predict the market. You understand really how your draws on liquidity. You can get away with taking some of these setups. But don't spam them, right? These come maybe once, twice a week, if not once a week. All right, and the art of taking a bad setup is important because it all has to do with draw on liquidity being very obvious. And I want to open up your eyes because some of you are not taking trades for weeks at a time. You're like, I have to wait for the perfect setup. And that's fine. If you're trading with $100,000 in your account, then you can do that. If you're trading with a prop firm account and you're only risking $200 per trade and you need to take a trade to make a living, which should not be your motivation in the first place, you should just take good setups to take good setups, not because you need the money, well then this is a strategy I'd be more willing to do, right? Taking a bad setup, but it has the art of a good draw on liquidity, okay? So that's going to be it for this video. I just want to open up your eyes, okay? All right, if you're in your first 2 years of trading, don't rush into this yet, but I want this to open up your eyes for the future, all right? So that's going to be it for this one. Apex did just drop a 90% off sale where there's literally a $37 lifetime activation fee if you get funded, which is absolutely crazy for Labor Day. If you guys are interested. 90% off first month, 80% off recurring month. Okay, lifetime PA fee was only $85. Reset fee is only $37, and it's 1 day to pass. Okay, link will be in the description for that. If you want to start practicing taking setups like this, I really strongly recommend getting an account. Okay, they're cheap. And dude, $37 activation fee and a 250K account, that is, I could find that on the ground right now. And the fact that you can make a real money off that is insane. The fact you can make like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 off of a $250,000 account for technically $60 right now is absolutely insane risk reward. So I'd probably get a lot of them. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, but hopefully open your eyes. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.